mute priests of the Lady of Marakand, even if they did hardly ever come out to the suburb. The damned wizard had bespelled Holosayan. That explained it. She had bespelled the whole gang, once upon a time, won herself a place with them, got herself made tutor to Pakdala, when they'd all thought her Hola's bastard daughter, not knowing she was the goddess of Lissavakel, not knowing Holosayan had been taken and possessed by the black dog. Monster, mountain spirit or not, Holosayan hadn't been immune to Ahjvar's wizardry then. He'd fallen to it again, obviously. And how was Zabel supposed to rescue him? He didn't want to end his life with his neck snapped like a rat's. And Hola, once the dog took him over, was quite mad. Anyway, Zabel had no idea where they'd gone. In bed somewhere, he supposed, and damned if he was going to start checking every inn and tavern to save the fool from himself. Hola would come to his senses in time. Surely. It wasn't like Ahjvar was even very pretty to hold a man for long. Of course, you couldn't call Gagush pretty either, and he'd married her, so maybe that wasn't what Hola went looking for. Zabel's jaw ached, his head ached. He was tired and alone, and he had no money. Hardly any money. A few coins left. He'd already had to pawn his father's saber, the only inheritance he had from either parent, because Gagush refused again to advance him any pay on the next trip. They treated him like a child. At least he had enough for a bite to eat. He didn't think he could chew. His jaw throbbed, and damned if Hola hadn't loosened a few teeth for him. Something to drink, though, would settle his stomach, stop the spinning in his head while he thought what to do about Hola. A drink, and another, because the sweet, thin wine did help, and the luck of the old great gods was with him. He found a Marakander looking to play a game of tables, one of those who came out to the caravansary suburb, thinking the caravaneers all drunken barbarians with the wits of their own camels, and he won the first and third of the 3-game match, made a decent purse of the game, and more off the betting, which had mostly been against him, made himself scarce thereafter, because he didn't like the way the loser was eyeing him. He wasn't so drunk as all that. Zabel walked out into a battle. Well, not quite. There had been an unusual number of people rushing in and out of the tavern, so he should have guessed something was afoot. But playing tables meant having your wits about you, and he had shut out the stir and fuss, though it had distracted his opponent to some advantage in that last game. The street, a crooked lane off the main road, was empty but for a couple of running caravaneers. Noise, though, cries and yells, and there was a reek of heavy smoke. He followed the running men, mostly to get himself away from the tavern as quickly as he could, with the pocket of his coat nicely heavy. He had the vague idea of heading for the pawnshop, which was down along closer to the graveyard of the gore, and an even vaguer notion of seeing what all the noise was, in case Hola was doing something about Ahjvar at last. But when he rounded the corner onto the main road, it was to a scene of chaos that took him right back to Lissavakel, where his father had died, where everything changed, and sometimes it seemed he'd lost not only the dead, but the living. The road towards the gore was obscured by black smoke. Buildings burned, scarlet flames climbing high, the air roaring with them. Screams and cries, the clash and ring of metal, animal roaring too, came from there. Nearer, a smaller battle raged. Women of the suburb and women of the road clothes engaged with Marakander temple guard in red tunics and leather armor, a twisting, tight knot of desperation. He couldn't see who was winning, wasn't such a fool as to rush into it either way. Fighting street guard never came to any good end, and temple guard, if they hauled you off before the voice of the lady. No, some assassin had murdered her, and the lady, the goddess of the city, spoke for herself now, they said. If they hauled you off before the lady, you'd certainly better hope the old great gods had their hands over you, because nothing short of a miracle would save you then. The caravaneers, outnumbered, broke and surged back. Zabel whirled to run with them. It was that or be taken gawking there by the temple guard pursuit. Sarah damn him for a fool. He tripped and stumbled along, and missed his chance to dart away up the lane again, when someone hopefully grabbed his arm to steady him. They didn't run far, just to get their backs against the corner made by a caravansary's out-thrust entryway. Its gate was firmly shut.